Happening now, we break down new safety improvements coming to Jamestown Public Schools. And the latest on an overnight bust in Jamestown recovering drugs and a loaded handgun. Plus, a local World War II veteran celebrates a big milestone, his 100-year-old birthday.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, Jamestown police allegedly busted a man with a loaded handgun during an overnight traffic stop. Just after 1 in the morning Monday, officers stopped Dustin Turner's vehicle in the area of East 6 and Fulton Street for making an improper turn. During an investigation, the 32-year-old Lakewood resident was found allegedly in possession of a loaded pistol with a high-capacity magazine, along with a quantity of pills that tested positive for methamphetamine. Turner was placed into custody and taken to Jamestown City Jail. That's where he was charged with criminal possession of a weapon and criminal possession of a controlled substance, along with several other traffic violations. A 40-year-old man is accused of driving while intoxicated after police in Jamestown discovered him passed out and slumped over the wheel at a local convenience store. At about 3 in the morning Sunday, Jamestown police officers responded to the 7-Eleven on Hazeltine Avenue for a welfare check. After making contact with Brendan Andrews, it was discovered he was allegedly driving while intoxicated. At the time, Andrews was taken into custody and charged with DWI and DWI per se. Now, after processing, he was released with an appearance ticket for Jamestown City Court. Well, a company out of Erie, Pennsylvania is helping families in Chautauqua County prepare for their worst nightmare, an active shooting at one of our local schools. Bronson Rasmussen joins us live from the newsroom on more on how this company is trying to help families here. This is critical for everybody to know, Bronson.
That's right, Justin. On the heels of last week's mass shooting in Nashville, Tennessee, owner of Household HQ, a security and emergency training service, David Cole, is stressing the importance of being prepared.
And what we're really trying to do is bridge the gap between knowledge and what equipment is available out in public. We lean heavily on planning and training so that way people can be their strongest asset.
Here locally, Jamestown Public Schools are increasing safety measures in response to last week's tragedy. Some improvements include retraining staff, equipment upgrades, and a violence interrupter program. For Cole, he'd rather see educators and administrators get the correct training than having school-aged children lose their innocence.
We don't want children to have that negative feeling about going to school. We want people to be excited about learning and education in general. What we do offer, though, is the capability to train older generations, and I think that's what really helps.
His firm has plenty of resources for anyone to tackle an active shooter situation.
We assess, we equip, we plan, and we train. Again, we make sure to partner with top-of-the-line businesses and agencies. So equipment provisions can be anywhere from first aid kits, which in active shooter situations are absolutely needed. We also provide training as a licensed training provider through the American Red Cross to make sure you know how to use those kits. And of course, the active shooter survival training through Alive.
In the end, the training is meant to make someone prepared for the worst.
People aren't necessarily less afraid of something happening because that risk is always there, but now they feel comforted in knowing that they can do something when it actually happens.
Other services that Household HQ provides include child care, allergy detection and EpiPen usage, opioid overdose training, and family protection. Now, more information on their services can be found on our webpage at WNYNewsNow.com. Reporting live in the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
All right, Bronson, thank you. Such important info that families need to know. Thanks for sharing. A Chautauqua County veteran is celebrating a big milestone, with this year marking a century of life.
Happy birthday, dear friend. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, sir.
Now, neighbors, friends, and family members of Phil Wright were in attendance for a celebration of this milestone Sunday at the Lawson Center on Lakeside Drive in Bemis Point. Born on April 1st, 1923, Wright served as a member of a bombing group in the United States Air Force during the end of the Second World War. He took part in Operation Chowhound, a series of food drops which helped to quell a famine in portions of German-occupied Europe. Though originally from New Jersey, White eventually settled down in Bemis Point, where he raised several children, becoming well-known and well-respected in the community. At Sunday's party, he was presented with several declarations from local leaders, as well as an American flag, which flew over the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. in his very honor. Certainly we thank him for his service, and what a great thing to see the community come out and celebrate him, as Chautauqua Countyans always do. So important. Well, now let's switch gears and get a first check of our weather forecast today. Chief Weather Forecaster Andrew Stevenson joining us with that. And Andrew, over the weekend, it definitely was busy for so many. And in fact, I know we were talking about this morning. There are still now some people, very few pockets under, I think they said under 100 here in Western New York, but still don't have power because of these heavy winds that rolled through the area.
So those winds were quite strong, and they knocked some trees down. We had some viewers send in some photos from across the city and across the region, and the first one of a tree that fell on the power lines there, and we had multiple photos of trees down all over the city of Jamestown and all over the region, and result of power being knocked out, and some power is still out. Some of the peak wind gusts from Saturday to Dunkirk Airport, 66 miles per hour. Delavan at 64 miles per hour. Fredonia and Jamestown both saw peak wind gusts Saturday of 59 miles per hour, and Olean at 54 miles per hour. And it looks like we're going to do it all over again by the middle of the week. Currently, first defense Doppler radar is pretty dry out there. Mostly sunny skies across the southern tier and northwestern Pennsylvania, but some clouds and some showers are starting to work in towards the northwest, and we'll have some more clouds building in through the rest of the afternoon. We made it to a high of 39 degrees yesterday. The low was 22. The record high for the day was 84, set back in 2010, and the record low of 13, set back in 1954. So for the rest of the afternoon out there, feeling like spring out there. Partly to mostly sunny skies through most of the afternoon, but those clouds will start to build in a little later in the afternoon into the evening hours, with possibly a couple rain showers possible by the evening. Temperatures today will make it into the mid to upper 50s, close to 60, with a southwest wind of 10 to 15 miles per hour. Now we have some more rain and storms on the way, but I'll let you know coming up in the full forecast in a few minutes.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. As WNY News Now continues, we're hearing from local arborists about the importance of getting your trees checked out before springtime storms like what we saw over the past weekend. And later, we check in with budget negotiations here in New York State, as the deadline to pass a fiscal spending plan is today. Stay with us.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer. but 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Well, these volatile weather conditions are a hallmark of springtime when the cold and warm air collide. And for this past 2 weekends here, we've seen conditions just right with high winds and gusty winds bringing down lots of trees. We checked in with J. Thomas Tree Service to ask if there's anything that a homeowner could do or tell if their trees are at risk of toppling down. Experts say there are definitely things to look for, and it's good to have a tree expert actually take a look themselves.
A lot of evergreen varieties, they have shallow root systems. So, those are very susceptible to failure and high winds, especially when the grounds are wet. We also want to be looking for like bad unions in trees and large dead branches that can come down during these winds. We suggest that you have a arborist or a certified arborist come through and just do an assessment of your property. A lot of companies will do them for free. Just come on your property, talk to you about your trees, and try to guide you in the right direction.
Now, a bad union is when two big branches arise from one point on a tree in a V shape. Now, Jacob Thomas also said a tree service can advise you on the best placement around your property, so if a tree were to fall down, it won't hit your home or cars. We have continuing coverage on the indictment of former President Donald Trump. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein has some reaction from New York State lawmakers and also breaks down a civil lawsuit against Trump from the Attorney General.
Following the Manhattan grand jury decision to indict former President Donald Trump, some New York State lawmakers say this is an example of justice.
It's about time that Donald Trump got held to account for everything he has perpetrated in his life.
Governor Kathy Hochul also responds to the indictment.
It is simply a statement that all of our laws apply to everyone.
While other lawmakers respond saying this is a sad day for the country.
It's a politically motivated prosecution, and that should bother everybody.
But the indictment isn't the only legal challenge facing the former president. In September, Attorney General Letitia James filed a $250 million lawsuit alleging that Trump and his senior executives at the Trump Organization falsely inflated their net worth by billions of dollars to entice banks to lend them money. A New York State attorney says because most lending institutions are federally insured, this makes the allegations in violation of federal banking law, which are cases typically handled by the United States Attorney General.
In this case, it's very unusual that you would see a state attorney general bringing an action in civil court that relates primarily to what could have been, if investigated and found to be true, a crime.
The Attorney General's office states the allegations were in violation of a New York executive law where a person engages in repeated fraud and illegality. This law gives the Office of the Attorney General power to pursue action. A lawyer for Trump did not respond to WNY News Now for comment. In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
And New York State lawmakers are considering a budget extender if they do not finish their budget process by today. The Senate and Assembly adjourned over the weekend without an official budget vote. If a budget is not finished by the end of the day today, the legislature will have to pass a budget extender, which would help address payroll issues for state workers. Some lawmakers are saying there is a draft of that extender currently in both houses. If the legislature passes an extender today, the question is, how long will it be? It could be a few days or a few weeks. So far, the main topic of debate in negotiations is surrounding bail reform and the governor's housing compact. Two issues state lawmakers say is the reason the budget is behind this year. Well, throughout recent decades, women have made significant strides towards more representation in government. In Pennsylvania, our Pennsylvania correspondent Brendan Scanlon is talking about the firsts as the Women's History Month comes to a close, and there are many firsts.
Pennsylvania has a long, rich history. In state government, that history was largely written by men who led both chambers for decades, until this year.
I was shocked to see in the Senate, how few women there were.
Philadelphia native Joanna McClinton was previously a public defender before she was introduced to Harrisburg while working in the Senate. Despite many telling her to pursue an open House seat in 2015, she was skeptical to run at first.
It just was like, well, this wasn't on my agenda. What if I lose? That will be embarrassing.
Now she's Pennsylvania's first female Speaker of the House.
You can be afraid, but do it anyway.
Across the Capitol, another history-making woman.
Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it.
Senate President Pro Temp Kim Ward is the third highest ranking government official in Pennsylvania. Her desire for public service stems from advocacy efforts with a close friend during the HIV epidemic.
We didn't know what AIDS was, and he acquired it. So he started to get very, very, it was a time like COVID.
She says many were skeptical that she'd become the first woman to win the 39th senatorial district seat.
Because I was a woman and because it was a very registered Democrat area, but I won.
Her message to the next generation of female leaders?
You can do whatever it is you want to do.
Although they may disagree politically, the two history makers have a lot of respect for each other.
She is intelligent. She is kind. One of the very first big baskets of flowers and plants I received after my mastectomy was from Speaker McClinton.
President Pro Tem Kim Ward has always had my respect. A very accessible, authentic, and amazing woman leader.
Reporting at the state capitol in Harrisburg, Brendan Scanlon, Erie News Now.
Coming up next, our Washington, D.C. correspondent with more on the indictment against former President Donald Trump and what this might mean for his political future. And later, with trout season now well underway across our region, we hit local rivers and streams to see how local fishing is this spring. But first, we come back with a full look at our weather forecast and how the weather might be impacting that fishing this week as another round of severe storms could be coming our way.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Caitlin Armstrong.
Has been quite the experience.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
15-year-old Yadiel Diaz was subject to a public humiliation stunt by a fellow student in an act of violence and bullying. Now Yadiel's mother, Raquel, has had enough.
Officials are trying to work with the county's homeless coalition to help support the homeless population locally. There are also plans in the works to build 2 new shelters.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Fast, accurate, and every day. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we're under mostly sunny skies, blue skies out there. The current temperature is 57 degrees at the Jamestown Airport as of noon, so we may very well break the 60-degree mark today with a southwest wind of 14 miles per hour. Well, we're going to do it again. More severe weather is on the way, and this map looks oddly similar to the severe weather that This area saw last Friday portions of the area once again under a moderate risk for severe weather tomorrow, even an enhanced risk in Iowa, Illinois, Missouri. So they could once again be dealing with some strong damaging tornadoes, large hail, and strong winds tomorrow. And you know, if they're going to get it tomorrow, we're going to get it on Wednesday. The NOAA Storm Prediction Center has already placed us under a slight risk for severe weather on Wednesday, with the main risk being some strong damaging winds. But they have also said that this could be up to an enhanced risk, which may include some tornadoes and large hail, but we will be keeping an eye on this over the next few days. Here's what's happening across the Northeast right now. There is a weak cold front. This cold front has nothing to do with the storms that will be coming our way on Wednesday. This is just a weak cold front that could bring a couple showers into the region later tonight and through the day tomorrow. So let's time it out on future scan. For the rest of the afternoon out there, partly to mostly sunny skies. The clouds will be increasing as we head into the evening hours, with some showers starting to develop in the evening hours into the overnight period, and those light rain showers will continue through the early half of tomorrow. Otherwise, we might see partly to mostly cloudy skies through the rest of the afternoon, and then a stronger cold front will approach the region Wednesday. Now ahead of that cold front, widespread rain showers and thunderstorms will be likely on Thursday, and temperatures making it well into the 70s on Wednesday, I should say. So it's going to be feeling like summer on Wednesday. As we are heading into the month of April, we are changing our background on our 7-day forecast, as we do every year in support of autism awareness. So for the rest of the month of April, you'll be seeing this background behind Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast. And here is that 7-day forecast. Temperatures tomorrow making the lower 60s. We'll go low to mid 70s on Wednesday out ahead of that cold front, but that comes at the price of strong to severe thunderstorms. Behind that cold front, temperatures back down into the 40s and 50s for Thursday and Friday. But the good news is high pressure builds in, and we have an extended period of dry weather taking us into Easter weekend. Temperatures Saturday, lower 50s, and for Easter Sunday, partly sunny skies and temperatures in the lower 60s. Not bad for the weekend, but we have to get through the middle of the week first.
Yeah, certainly a nice Easter, but as you mentioned, it always comes with something. And we'll certainly see that and be tracking that on Wednesday, Andrew. Thank you. Well, let's get some headlines from around the nation. Speaking of weather, at least 32 people are dead as brutal storms move across the United States. President Joe Biden pledging help from the federal government, while forecasters are warning the severe weather isn't over yet. Dangerous weather conditions moving along the U.S. left behind a trail of destruction and death. This video shows hail falling near Dallas. Today, that storm system is pushing through Louisiana. At least 5 people are dead after a twister hit in Arkansas over the weekend. Now, just across the state line, Tennessee reports at least 15 deaths, one in Alabama with another in Mississippi. Now, up north, Illinois communities are reeling from tornadoes too. At least 5 people are dead due to severe weather in Indiana, with another fatality in Delaware. Now a snowstorm is moving across the northern states, and it could bring a spring blizzard later on to the Dakotas. Well, with the indictment of former President Donald Trump, many are wondering if it disqualifies Trump from running for presidency, or if a criminal conviction bars him from running for the office. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp has the answers.
Former President Donald Trump is the first former president to be criminally indicted. He is also running for president in the upcoming 2024 election. This is uncharted territory for our political and legal systems. While we wait for the arraignment, when the charges will be unsealed, we asked a law professor if an indictment can keep someone from running for the office of the president.
The Constitution spells out very clearly the conditions to be eligible for the office of the president. In Article 2, Section 1, the Constitution specifically mentions three conditions. One is that person needs to be a natural-born citizen, meaning that they were born here rather than naturalized later in their lives. Second, they have to be at the age of 35 and up. And 3, that they have to be 14 years a resident within the United States.
Former President Trump meets those conditions. If convicted, law professors explain he could still run for our highest office.
There were plenty of convicted felons at the time of the founding, unfortunately or fortunately, and it's hard to believe that the founding fathers did not consider the possibility. They just preferred to leave it to the people And I think that kind of determination by the people and for the people stays with us well into 2 centuries later. So I think it's not a fluke that they have forgot to mention convicted fellows, and they just thought that the electorate body perhaps would be wiser than to choose someone who was convicted in a criminal trial for president.
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. Well, Pope Francis participated in Palm Sunday Mass in St. Peter's Square on Sunday, just one day after his release from the hospital for bronchitis. Some 30,000 faithful were present, according to the Vatican, carrying traditional palm leaves and olive branches. Francis remained seated for most of the Mass due to an ongoing knee problem. Palm Sunday begins one of the busiest weeks for the Pope, who is scheduled to visit a juvenile jail Thursday, preside at the Via Caucus at Rome's Colosseum Friday, and participate in Saturday's Easter Vigil Mass, as well as then a Sunday Mass, too. Well, coming up next, trout season is now underway. We're hearing from anglers who took to local streams and waterways over the weekend.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
This year's theme, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, focuses on the importance of knowing your way out of a home or business in the event that a fire were to break out.
The Hello Summer Festival in downtown Jamestown, and as you mentioned, the whole goal of this is to connect Jamestown's kids with things to do over the summer.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, Channel 716.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
The sunshine over the weekend brought crowds of people to local ponds and bays for the start of trout season. While some have enjoyed this calming hobby, for others it gave them a chance to try it for their first time. WWII News Now's Elspeth Meisner reports.
Presque Isle was one of many places that was filled with anglers for the first day of trout season.
Waterworks ponds have quite the crowd around them for the first day of trout. It's a nice place to come fish. It's stocked well with a lot of nice brown trout, and it's fairly accessible for a lot of young anglers to come out and fish with their families.
Not only did the start of trout season bring out some longtime fishers, but it also brought some beginners too, who caught their very first fish. And that was the case for Annabelle Anya, who caught a fish after trying since the early morning.
Very fun. It was very hard to catch it because it was like fighting away. Yeah.
She wasn't the only one who caught a fish. Other children had luck too, thanks to the help from family members and the Sons of Lake Erie.
We're working with the Sons of Lake Erie is to hopefully introduce a lot of folks to fishing and start them young, and no pun intended, but get them hooked on the activity, and you'll see that they will be hopefully involved in the hobby throughout their whole life. It's a great way to come out, enjoy nature, relax, and is fishing something that you can do 365 days a year.
After spending time in the sun, anglers can enjoy snacks and drinks to benefit the veterans in the community.
We are definitely enjoying the weather. In many years past, it's definitely been cold and dreary out here, so with the temperatures being this, it's definitely helping us with having more people and hopefully helping us with getting more donations.
Elspeth Meisner, WWII News Now.
All right, Elsbeth, thank you very much. Certainly today, if you're going to go out, it's not a bad day to go fishing, that's for sure. Well, that's going to do it for our newscast. We'll leave you with this shot over downtown Jamestown. I don't see any fish out there. Should have a lake camera, that's what we should do. Next time.
Sunny out.
It is, right, a beautiful day nevertheless. If you missed anything we talked about, the news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. Have a great day.